Okay, little technical difficulties. All right, so we're on a trapezoid now, and we're just going to find the area here. So area equals 1/2 times the two bases that we add together times the height. Okay, so we're going to put 1/2, and then we're going to add these two bases together. So we have 7x squared y plus 4x squared y. And then we're going to take all that and we're going to multiply it by the height, which is 2xy. Okay, so the first thing you want to do here is you want to add what's in the parentheses. So we have the 1/2 on the outside still. And then if we add 7 and 4, because these are exactly the same. So remember, when we're adding, we have to make sure that the variables and the exponents are the same, and they are. So we can add the coefficients together. So 7 plus 4 is 11. And then we keep these the same, x squared y. And then, oh, I put height here. So instead of height, we want to put the actual height, which is 2xy. Okay? And then we're going to multiply that by 2xy. Okay? And these look just like problems we've been doing before. Okay? So now we have a 1/2 times an 11 and times a 2. Okay, so if we do that all on our calculator, 1/2 times 11 times 2, we would get an 11. Okay, because 11 times 2 is 22. 22 times 1/2 is 11. And so what's left is just to take this x, put it down here, and we have a 2 above this x and a 1 above this x, and that makes 3. Then we have a 1 above this y and a 1 above that y, and we have another 2. Okay, so that's how you do that. Okay, so our last geometric application is with a circle. Okay, so the formula for circle is area equals pi times radius squared. Okay, some of you know that. If not, the formula is usually around somewhere. Okay, so I wrote it out. Area equals, and then we have pi, and then in the parentheses, we're going to put the number for the radius that we have here. It'll change depending on your circle, and then the squares on the outside. So let me go ahead and put 3xy to the third. Okay, and this obviously looks a little similar to what we've been doing here. Okay, now for this particular one, we're not going to solve for pi. We're just going to keep pi in the answer. Okay, so first let's just ignore pi for now, and we're just going to go ahead and do this just like we've been doing, raising a power to a power. Okay, so first of all, we have a coefficient 3, and we're going to go ahead and raise that to the second power. So 3 raised to the second power, or 3 squared, is 3 times 3, which is 9. Okay, now I'm going to leave a little space. I'm going to put my x down. Okay, now remember, x has a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. And then I have a y. I have a 3 in the inside and a 2 on the outside. I multiply those, and that gets me a 6. Now the reason I left a space here is because I'm not going to solve for pi. I'm just going to put pi back down in my answer. So that's where the pi goes back down, okay? So my answer for here is 9 pi x squared y to the 6. So the only difference here is we did this just like we would be raising to a power, but we had to put the pi back in there, and there it is right there. Okay. All right, and these, hang on to these because you'll have to do some practice problems of your own. And all you're going to do is use the same basic formulas that I have. So you're going to have a sheet to do in the classroom by yourself. Just follow all these, exactly the same kind of problems, okay? All right, so now turn to your next sheet, which is going to be, it says homework, but it's not really homework. It's just your classroom sheet. It says homework 2 on the top. And this is where you're going to practice, okay? So this is your practice for powers of monomials and geometric applications. It's 2 pages. So one page looks like this, and the second page looks like this. It's 22 through 26. Looks just like the page we just did. All right, so I'm going to do a few with you right now, just to give you some examples. So get to this page right here. So I'm going to do 8, 9, 11, and 14 with you. Okay, just to give you some different examples. And then you are responsible for doing the rest of them. Okay, you have enough examples from the past few days that I can do. I will go ahead and put some up on the, and these 2 videos up on Google Classroom in case you missed a day. But I will not put the answers to these ones up there until I come back, and I will grade these. So make sure you are working today and tomorrow. Okay, so 8. Okay, so I just wanted to bring this to your attention. You notice how there's a negative in front of here, okay? That represents a -1. Okay, so whenever you see just a negative without a number in there, remember it's really a -1. So if you're raising a -1 to the 4th power, you would put -1 in parentheses in your calculator, and you would raise it to whatever number's on the outside. So in this case, it's a negative, or it's raising it to a 4. Okay, so when you do that, you're going to get a positive number. Okay, so that way you're going to actually get rid of that negative there. I just wanted to let you know that. So that's why that will disappear out of there. So basically your answer is going to be a positive A, and it's going to be 9 times 4, and 9 times 4 is 36. And then you have the B, which has a 1, and a 1 times 4 is 4. Okay? So the reason I showed you this one is because of that a negative. Okay, the second one I want to show you is one with a fraction in the front. Okay, and I just want to let you know that you just treat that like just any other number. So everyone pick up your calculators right now. Don't just wait for one person in the classroom to do it or the teacher. So everyone in the class pick up your calculator right now, even the people who are going ahead right now. Okay, so I want you to put in, because this is the coefficient, you're going to raise this to the 7th power. So on your calculator, you're going to hit the 1, then the ABC, or the division line, and then put the 2 in, and then you're going to raise it to the 7th power, because that's what's on the outside, okay? And then you should get 1/128th, okay? Okay, so when you're raising a fraction, you're actually making it a lot smaller, right? So then we're going to put the X down, and then we have a 4 on the inside and a 7 on the outside. So what do you do when you have a power to a power? What do you do with those 2 numbers? Person, let's see, I'm going to call on the person in the 2nd row, the 3rd person. If there's not a 3rd person, I call the 2nd person. Okay, what's the answer? You multiply. Good job. Okay, so 4 times 7 is 28. Okay, very good. So that's your answer. Okay, 11. Okay, so now 11, in this particular example, you have a number in front of the parentheses, 1 inside the parentheses, and then we have a power on the outside. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of these. So remember, any number that's right up against a parenthesis means multiply. But we also have this right here, right? So let's do this part first. Let's get this all taken care of. The numbers that we're raising to a power first, and then we'll worry about multiplying it by the number on the outside. Okay, so let's take care of this. Okay, so 4 to the 2nd power. Okay, what is 4 to the 2nd power? We're going to raise 4 to the 2nd power, which means 4 times 4, which is 16. Then bring the K down, and then we have a 5 on the inside and a 2 on the outside. Sorry. Okay, so we had, that would be a 10. Okay, so now, once you're done with that, you have a 1/2 on the outside that you multiply. So 1/2 times 16 is going to be 8. And you don't have to take this 1/2 and do anything with that. The 1/2 only goes with the 16, okay? And then you just simply copy all this down. And you're done. Okay, one more example. Okay, so that was just one number on the outside. Now look, we have 3 different numbers to multiply together. Again, you only have one though that's raised to a power. So you can do either one. You could get rid of this one first, do these 2 together, the multiplication. I always like to get rid of the powers first. I feel like those ones maybe are a little tougher. Okay, so let's do those. So we got 2 to the 2nd power, which means 2 times 2, right? So let's write that one over here. Let's put our x down. X to the 2nd power, okay? Then 1 times 2, that one, same. Okay, so that one's out of the way. Now remember, these are still right up against each other. That means multiply. So I'm going to put a little multiplication sign by the dot. These are right up against each other, so these mean multiply 2. So we could go ahead and multiply these 2 together if we want, and then go ahead later and multiply against this one. So let's go ahead and put, what is negative 3 times 4? Negative 12. Okay, then we have an x and a y. Okay, we can't do anything with those together, right? So let's just go ahead and write them next to each other. And they're both to the 2nd power. Now watch how they're trying to be a little tricky here. They have 4x to the 2nd, y to the 2nd, times negative 12x to the 2nd, y to the 2nd. Now some students might see that and go, wait, they're the same. They're like terms. Let's combine them. But really, you combine them when you're adding and subtracting. What are we doing here? We're multiplying, yeah, right? So basically, you just multiply them, okay? You don't have to worry about combining, okay? So what is 4 times negative 12? I hope somebody said negative 48, right? Okay, so now remember, when we multiply, what do we do with the exponents? First person in the first row. Okay, it doesn't matter where you're sitting, the first person in the first row, whoever's first. What do you do with the exponents when you multiply? Did you answer? You add them. Very good. Okay, so x to the 2nd and x to the 2nd is x to the 4th, right? Okay, and then we have our y's, same thing. We have a y to the 2nd and a y to the 2nd, which is a y to the 4th. And that's how you make that answer. Okay, and I think everything else is very similar to this. So be careful. Some of those are multiplication, and I see a couple of them might be adding. Okay, so be careful. If they're right up and next to each other, that means multiply. And sometimes you'll just have a regular little dot, and that means multiply 2. Okay, so you have this page to do, and then you also have this page to do, which looks just like what we just did on here. Okay, so you see how they match up very nicely. Okay, so you should be able to take the information from here and just do it basically the same way. Okay, so you have a lot of work to do. You got the first thing that I'm going to grade from today, and then you have these 2 sheets to do that I will grade. You have today and tomorrow, and then if you run out of work to do on Friday, I will have I still have one more assignment that you can do to get credit too. All right, so have a good day, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.